Hi, I'm Tony Spina with Hillside Christmas Tree Farm. Behind me is my exotic conifer field, full of Korean Grand, some Nordman, and I don't know, some Nobles, I think. So we're going to walk through. We're going to make sure that the trees are growing like we want. So quick shearing job. I also have some tree trainers and tree rings just in case something's getting out of hand. I'll use a short blade knife. There's not a lot of tall stuff in here. First trees planted were in 2019. Koreans are a bit slower and everything else, so yeah, that's what we're going to do today. So why don't you follow along and see how we do this here. So we're just going to make sure they're growing right. I don't know, I really don't have a favorite. So we're going to bring in, we want these are the Korean. I'm not too worried about cutting in the old growth. These are pretty resilient trees. I don't want them getting fat. This is a Grand. Again, our first year growing Grand, they really put some big stumps. So just bringing in the bottoms. Right, see this is getting fatter than it is wider. So we have a double. We'll nip out the double. And we'll bring in the sides, cutting in the old growth. All right, leaving it like that. Same thing here, we're getting pretty wide, short, slow growing, right? What, 4 inches this year? That is why these are in their own little area. Bringing it in, this one here, a little more open, pretty symmetrical, so we can leave that one alone. This one here we'll have to bring in. Harder swings. All right, down to 1 row. Cleaning up the bottom. I think this is the first year I've used the knife on these. Yep, try to help with the deer. You don't like the smell. And then here's our deer damaged Nordman, which I think we're gonna abandon this year. Try something else. So we'll clean up some for maybe wreaths and stuff this year, but for the most part, they're gonna be done. Done here until we figure out deer. So now we're gonna move on to the Korean. We see a short top, too wide, so we're gonna bring it in pretty hard. Kind of getting into the original exotic trees. Were planted in 2019. So these are getting bigger. And we'll leave it like that. Whew. Koreans do cone early. Good. This one here got deer damaged. So try a couple EDC bands to try to pull that up. All right, we'll see if that branch there, we can turn that into something, and we'll bring all these sides in. Because clearly we're going to need some more time with this tree to let it fill in correctly and try to correct itself. So I did a video on kind of heavy shearing some Koreans, and it did work. It's going to take a couple years for them to fill in. Those trees are mostly gone now, but something like that I'm not afraid of doing because of that, those lessons. So it's good to do these videos. I learned stuff too. A good way to track year over year. Definitely making me keep a closer eye on stuff. Here's another one where we had a deer rub. Obviously we're in the woods, so we're going to be exposed to a lot of deer. So, and again, we're not afraid to cut into it to give it a shape. Deer like rubbing your nice big best trees. So if you've been following along too, you kind of know that I'm moving my exotics out of this wooded area into the field, dedicating 2 acres of field right in the middle of the farm to grow my exotics. This area I'll still use, and maybe I'll put all these in the cove, in these kind of coves and things that we have, find some trees that the deer don't really eat too much, and develop them into my tall trees. Really let them be natural, really stretch them out. As I have mentioned, I feel there is a pretty big market in my area for tall trees, and I want to capture that, so I have to kind of have a plan to develop those with purpose. All right, the damaged Nordman. And back to our grand. Looks good. Still too little. This one here can take a bit off. Gonna growth, it'll fill in, that's fine. These actually might, I don't know how, haven't decided how I'm gonna coordinate people here. Maybe I'll cut them down as pre-cuts. It's the other reason for having them in the middle of the farm. No matter which field I have open, it'll be kind of in the center point. So logistics makes sense. I'll go lean that against the tree or by the golf cart. Ranger, thank you. Me, I need the clippers. I don't have 2. Oh, I do. Look at that. Good job. Kind of make them into little torpedoes. Tops of Korean I try to avoid cutting. I think they got enough top problems just on their own. Bring in the sides pretty hard a lot of times. So they grow like bushes for a while. Alright, got to talk to the boss. Time out. Alright, got done talking to the boss. Now we're back to shearing small Korean. Just trying to keep them from getting too fat. Now this one here is the one I didn't have a lot of butt abortion. Tried turning one up, so now we're going to make that kind of our line. Bring this all in. From there. All right. Moving on just a little bit here. This one here looks pretty good just on its own, so we'll leave it. And bring these sides in. Again, the top we want to leave this one a little bit here, right? The nuts shaped the way we want. Good. Here, same thing, just a little bit. This one here, we got to really bring in. And to our grands. Nice grand fat bottom. Let me see if we start getting the top we need. Be careful sitting there, Mia. You got a lot of poison ivy over there. All right. Looks good. Fat, dense. And then I started getting the tops at length that we need. All right, good leader last year. Good leader this year. Hopefully we'll really start. Yeah, this one might be 2 years out. Again, like I said, I'm not sure how I'm gonna retail these if I bring them up as pre-cuts. Risk there is once I cut it, I gotta sell it, right? Some of these aren't going to make it in the trees. Probably take that one for wreaths. Dang, Mia, there's a lot of cones on this one you can take care of. That one. Yep. Go for it. So we talk about how cones stunt growth, right? So you look at all these little shoots that are just that shorter because of all the cones, right? The top, it just takes that much growing energy away from the tree. So that's why cones are removed earlier in the year. Because if you don't get good branch growth. I like to think of the growing season as a fuel tank. You know, there's only so much fuel. There's only so much potential growth that tree's going to do in a year. Giving it fertilizer and water helps fill up that tank and keep it full. I don't irrigate here, as I don't have the money to invest in that. But we did fertilize this year. We didn't fertilize these. But that's why I think we do the leader work early in June. Cut out doubles and stuff that we're not going to cut out, so that growing energy, that fuel tank, can be used in growth. It really matters. So that's why you pick cones, because again, that fuel tank's going to go to cone production. That's what the tree's going to want to do. It wants to reproduce, spread its seeds, get its genetics out in the world. So once they start coning, you're going to focus on that, not branch growth. You see, I'm really bringing these in, right? I need the tree to grow taller, not fat. I had a grand in my house this past year, and it took up the whole room, and I thought I got kind of a small one. So really bringing these in. Oh. Not doing anything with the leaders, trying to stretch those out. I'm okay with having open trees because, these trees are still, I have one full harvest year experience with them. But, there's still lots to learn. But I did learn that I can really bring them in and it'd be okay. Same thing with the Koreans. This one probably should have got trimmed last year, but we'll bring it all in and give it the time it needs to fill out. This one here we can't leave this long because it's too tall. Really like the smell of grands. They smell awesome. Look at that. Maybe what? Got my 10,000 steps and it's 10 o'clock, 10:30. Here's another nice one, doing well. I have to bring it in a bit, but that's all right. All right. Okay, same thing here. good. All right, skip the Nordmans. And do our Koreans. Here's another one, right? No lateral buds at all last year. So this is going to be an interesting one to watch and what to do with it. Oh, man, it's hot. It's muggy. But this will be the last row for the exotics. I really will need the knife on. And the rest is going to be probably just the hand clippers because the other ones are pretty small. So I'm really hammering this stuff in because it's too empty. You see, it's already 7 feet tall. So we get a good bud set and growth. Maybe that one will go in 2 years. Mia, come get this post. Thank you. See, when I say poison ivy, this is poison ivy. This is poison ivy. I just want you to be careful. What? Okay. All right, I'm gonna take the camera off my forehead because it's getting uncomfortable. But yeah, you can see how we're trimming up our exotics. I'm cutting into them, not afraid to cut in the old growth because I do have time for these to fill in and correct themselves. A lot of that stuff is only shin high, so yeah, sun's starting to come out. It's gonna start getting really hot, so I'm glad I just have that little bit left to do. A lot of that'll be just clipper work because those are still pretty small. But yeah, that's it. I think with that wraps up all of our shearing that we need to do this year. I will do some just the trees going to be selling because we'll set the heights on those trees and kind of touch up the tops a little bit. But for the most part, we don't trim the sides of the year that we're harvesting. And yeah, all right. That does it. Thanks for watching.